The market, it seems, really struggling to hang on to any gains even when they are slight. So what are you putting current market activity down to?
Thank you very much, Alishia. Always a pleasure. Basically, just as you noted there, we are seeing the market since February came in has been declining marginally, and also we are seeing a bit of lackluster performance in terms of participation. But just as you noted there, one thing that is very positive this week is that foreigners are beginning to come back into the market. I guess the issue of the political risk is now beginning to fade away, and some confidence is beginning to come through, as well as some of the corporate actions that are beginning to create a lot of anticipation, just as you noted there, especially on the financials.
Let's take a look at a few of those players that have been gaining foreign investor interest. East Africa Breweries having been hard hit on the back of the new alcohol bill in the country, starting to gain some traction. Fundamentally, we are still looking at a strong company. Would you be buying at the 190 mark? Because we've got foreign shareholders driving the share price higher, and sometimes you've got local investors really differing when it comes to value these companies present.
Well, thank you very much. Looking at East African Breweries in particular, we've been seeing it performing relatively well, especially because of their dividend payout, which is fairly strong. As we speak now, it's a bit speculative because they're just about to announce their half-year results, and normally they usually give an interim dividend. I guess looking at it from the balance sheet point of view, last year we saw it expanding significantly, especially the acquisition of a brewer in Tanzania, and because of that, I guess there was a bit of a concern as to whether they're going to continue giving the fairly good dividends they've been giving. But looking at it in terms of pricing, I guess East African Brewery is one of the what we can call mature stocks in terms of being a blue chip, and notably we've seen it drop almost more than 20 to 25 shillings in the last 2 weeks or so, and so definitely it's a good position to be able to be buying as at now.
As you've touched on, we've had the markets running on expectations, especially out of the financial sector when it comes to their earnings and their reports. In that space, we've had stocks increase, 65% over the 2010 period. What kind of upside potential are you looking? Because we've certainly got that strong economic growth story that's providing much of the boost to the momentum at this stage.
Well, definitely, just as you noted there, we've been seeing a lot of significant growth, especially with the 2010 performance. NSE was ranked among the best performing bourses over last year, and as we are getting into January, February, we are seeing that momentum is still being carried on. Though we were very hopeful that we'll be able to hit 5,000 mark, which it seems right now is still a far call. But looking at it from the kind of earnings we should be anticipating, especially from the financials, which we've been seeing them doing almost double-digit performance, we should be expecting that kind of performance this year. And also looking at it from the money markets, we are seeing the central bank issuing more liquidity into them, trying to boost liquidity in terms of reducing their rates, and also trying to still spur economic growth. And with the prospects of even doing 6% growth, that almost positions the market to be able to be doing well. And hopefully you're going to be seeing more IPOs, more rights issues, and even some more positive corporate earnings. Just as you noted there, East African cables are not done as well, but I guess the worst is behind them. And hopefully as we get into this new year, you're going to be seeing positive gains on most of the stocks. But looking at the financials that now, I guess they're very, very speculative, and I would be very cautious if I would be a buyer at the moment, and also try to have a horizon of more than 6 months because of waiting for the half-year results.
Let's take a look at a few of those players in more detail. I mean, Equity Bank is sitting at around about 28 shillings 50. It's surrounded by lots of positive sentiment, and local investors accounting for about 63% of activity on that counter. What's your view on Equity Bank?
Well, Equity Bank has been one of the banking stocks which we've been watching for quite a while, and looking at it in terms of how it's performing, basically the trend for the stock has generally been up. And one of the things which is very, very favorable for the stock is that, first of all, they are always in the news with very new products. They're very innovative in terms of their product offering, and also in terms of their performance. Their balance sheet as well as bottom line has been fairly positive. And the interest, just as you noted there, especially from retail investors as well, local investors, is positive. But I must admit that even foreigners have been very keen on that stock. And as at now, they're really watching for James Mwangi to see what is going to be announcing come March. But looking at it in terms of the trend for the stock, it's been fairly positive. And right now, looking at it, especially in terms of where it's placed, we've seen it go all the way to 30 shillings. So it still has the potential to be able to continue growing. And right now, I guess most of us are looking at it towards closing the year at the range of 35.
Very quickly, Samuel, National Bank, it will be reporting its first dividend in years, so certainly receiving a lot of attention. What progress are we seeing with regards to further privatization of that bank?
Well, definitely. National Bank has been one of the stocks which most investors have been very keen on, especially noting, just as you said there, the dividend payout has not been good. And this year we are very positive about them being able to pay out a dividend, and the government is also positioning itself to divest from National Bank. They've been talking about a strategic partner or maybe a secondary IPO, but that information is not yet public. And so as of now, most investors are just preparing themselves for the dividend payout, which all prospects are looking as they're going to be very, very positive. And just as you noted there, we've been seeing the share price go all the way to 46. It has fallen back slightly, but the demand is still very strong.